we'll do together. Now, whenever a problem asks you to find the zeros, here's what you want to do when you use a graph. You're going to find the zeros by factoring. Always make sure you look for a GCF. You're going to plug those x values in and get y values for them. You'll find your points, and you need to find points in between the x's that you found in step 1. You're going to plug those in, you're going to get new y's, and you're going to get a new graph. Alright, let's try problem 2 now. Problem 2. What are the zeros of this particular equation? First thing to notice is if we go back to our step 1, it says find the zeros by factoring. So step 1 is already factored. We like that when that happens for us. Alright, step 2. Step 2 asks us to put the x values in and get y's for them. Now, you might be asking, what x values? Well, what would make this parenthesis 0? To make that parenthesis 0, wouldn't x equal -2? And to make this parenthesis 0, wouldn't x equal +1? And to make this parenthesis 0, wouldn't x equal +3? So those are the 3 x values that we need to plug in. Okay, so I'm going to make a nice xy chart, okay? Let me see where I want to make this xy chart. I guess I'll just do it right over here, xy. Alright, now I'm going to give myself a little room up here, and then I'm going to do -2. I'm going to put a star beside that because that was one of my zeros. And now I'm just going to count up to +3. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up one more to 4. Now let's put stars by all of the zeros. We had a 0 at -2. We have a 0 at +1. And we have a 0 at +3. Okay, so those stars indicate that those were my zeros, and those came from up here. Now what you have to be able to do is plug all of those values in. If you plug in -2, you will absolutely get 0. If you plug in 1, you get 0. If you plug in 3, you get 0. So now what we have to do is plug in the other values. So let's plug in -1. Are you ready? So you would do parentheses -1 plus 2, parentheses, -1 minus 1, parentheses, and last, -1 minus 3. And that comes from, if you're concerned where I'm getting that, I'm just getting that from up here from my equation. I get a value of 8 here for -1. Now we do need to go a little lower than our -2, so I'm going to go to -3. Let's plug in -3. -3 plus 2 parentheses times -3 minus 1 parentheses times -3 minus 3. Now you guys should be able to do this in your head. If you can't, just use your calculator the exact same way that I am. You will get a -24, so that's pretty outrageous to graph, but we'll know that it's negative really far down. Now let's plug in 0. Plug in 0, you get 0 plus 2 parentheses, 0 minus 1 parentheses, 0 minus 3 parentheses. Again, you should be able to do this in your head. You know 0 plus 2 is 2, 0 minus 1 is -1, and so on and so forth. You get 6. Now please plug in +2. 2 plus 2 parenthesis, 2 minus 1 parenthesis, 2 minus 3 parenthesis. You get a -4. The last thing we're going to plug in is that +4 down at the bottom. Okay, we're going to do 4 plus 2, 4 minus 1, and 4 minus 3. And we get 18 when we plug in 4. Now let's graph our points. Okay, let's plot our points. I'm going to plot -2, 0. I'm not going to plot -3, 20, -24. It would be a little crazy. -1 up 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 0 up 6. Over 1 up 0. There's one of my zeros. Over 2 down 4. Over 3 up 0, and 4 18's a little ridiculous. Now, can you guys see how many x's there are? 1, 2, 3. That means it's a cubic, okay? So it's going to behave just like the cubics we studied yesterday. So I'm going to connect my dots one after the other. I'm going to continue my pattern. You should notice how it takes 2 turns. And that's because it is a cubic. Okay, and the pattern is down, up. We studied that yesterday. Now we're all done with all of our steps. That's how you can use the factored form to help you graph. And we'll do the got it tomorrow in class. Okay, now how do you write a polynomial function if you're given the zeros? Well, it uses what we call the factor theorem, if you want to read it in your book. Here's pretty much what it says. Put all the zeros in parentheses, make sure they're being subtracted from x, multiply all those polynomials, binomials together. Okay, part A. What is the cubic polynomial function in standard form if these are the 3 zeros? Remember, cubic means there's going to be an x cubed, and remember, standard form means you need to put it in order. So here's what we need to take a look at over here. If -2 is an answer, that came from x plus 2. If +2 is an answer, that came from x minus 2. And if 3 is an answer, that came from x minus 3. Okay, if you want to draw arrows so you know where that came from. Remember when you solve for x how things change signs. Okay, so those would have to be the 3 parentheses. Now what we get to do is multiply them through. Okay, you ready? Let's do the first 2 first. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4 times the quantity x minus 3. Now if you guys were clever, did you notice how this is really just x squared minus 4 and x minus 3? Alright, let's keep going. We're going to have to FOIL again here. We get x to the 3rd power, no more parentheses, not needed. X to the 3rd power minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12. And that is the polynomial in standard form. Remember to switch your signs and multiply things together. On part B, you'll notice it's going to ask us for a quartic polynomial. That means you're going to have an x to the 4th power in standard form, and these are our zeros. You ready? So when we make these in parentheses, we're going to get y equals x plus 2. That takes care of that one. Remember, they're opposites if you were to solve them for 0. Another x plus 2, again opposite. An x minus 2, remember, again opposite. And an x minus 3. Remember, if it had been solved already, it came from an x minus 3. What I will suggest doing is multiplying these 2 parentheses together, x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4, and that came from these 2. And then I will suggest multiplying the second 2 together after that, okay? So I would do x squared minus 3x minus 2x plus 6. And that came from those 2 separate from the first 2. Then this would simplify to x squared plus 4x plus 4. This would simplify to x squared minus 5x plus 6. And now you get the pleasure of multiplying all of those together. Are you ready? Now, let's take it slowly. Are you ready? Okay. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times minus 5x is minus 5x cubed. X squared times 6 is plus 6x squared. Big problem. Now do the 4x. 4x times x squared is positive 4x cubed. 4x times negative 5x is minus 20x squared. And 4x times 6, 24x. We still have more to go. 4 times x squared is plus 4x squared. 4 times negative 5 is minus 20x. 4 times 6 is plus 24. Okay, we're all done. Now we have to put together our like terms. I only see this single x to the 4th power. Let's check out our x cubes. Negative 5 and positive 4 is negative 1x cubed. Let's check out our x squareds. 6 minus 20 is negative 14. Plus 4 is negative 10x squared. And now let's check out the x's. We have 24 minus 20 is plus 4x. And last but not least is the constant of 24. So our final equation is y equals x to the 4th minus x cubed minus 10x squared plus 4x plus 24. Now what they want us to do is to put these on our calculator and to compare them one to another. Okay? So if we do that, you ready? I'm going to get my calculator. Let's type each equation in to y equals. Alright, first one. X cubed, and you should practice this tomorrow, minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12. Now that was the first equation from part A. And the last one, x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd minus 10x squared plus 4x plus 24. Now that we have both of the equations in, watch what happens when we graph it. The first one is a cubic. You see it? The second one's a quartic. There it is. Now the question becomes, what do you notice is similar to them? Well, what I hope you notice is similar is, do you see where I'm pointing right here? That's a 0 on both of them. So we can say negative 2 is a 0 on both. Now you might wonder, what does it mean to be a 0? Okay, to be a 0 means it is where it crosses the x-axis. It's where it crosses the x-axis. Now you might wonder, why are we calling those zeros? The reason we call them a 0 is because that's technically where y equals 0. Okay, let's take a look at the other ones. Can you see right here that it crosses at a positive 2 on both of them? So what we're going to write next is that positive 2 is a 0 on both. And the last thing I want you to notice is, can you see right there how it crosses a positive 3? What that means is that positive 3 is a 0 on both. So pretty neat that you can use your calculator to help you get a visual of these two problems. Now if you're wondering, could we have noticed that from before? Absolutely. Because if you guys look up here, look how negative 2 was an answer for them, positive 2 was an answer for them, and 3 was an answer for both of them.